A ticket and there's no turning back now. Round and around like a horse on a carousel. We go.
Story time of how I found out that I was dating my own brother. Yes, biological brother, same mom, same dad. So a little background information, my mom passed away when I was 2, my dad is currently in jail, and I live with my grandma. So at the time, I was 14, about to be 15, he was 17, about to be 18. So how this all started is one day I was at the baseball game with my friends, and he happened to be there. I was fangirling over this boy. Like, I saw him and I was like, I'm going to marry him one day. I was feeling a little bold, so I went over and got his snap. And then I figured out that he had the same last name as me, and I was like, dude, that is dope. My exact words were, now I don't have to change my last name when we get married. So we hung out the rest of the baseball game, and I was starting to fall in love with this kid. Like, his smile, his laugh, I talked about him to my friends the rest of the night, and me and him started snapping for a while. So we started to hang out a lot. We may have hooked up a couple times, but I had to keep this all secret from my grandma because she forbid I dated somebody. So fast forward a couple weeks, we start dating. Months and months and months go by. Our 9 months come and I finally tell my grandma. And this is where it gets bad. I'm running out of time, like, for part 2. Part 2 of how I found out that I was dating my own brother. Continuing on with the story, me and his 9 months were coming up. Also, he was adopted and his foster family absolutely adored me, so they were okay with me keeping it a secret from my grandma. They were the ones to help me tell her. So not only were our 9 months coming up, but his birthday was the next day. And he told me the only thing that he wanted for his birthday was for my part of the family to know that we were together. So one day I sat down at the table and I was like, hey, I think it's about time that I tell you. And then I told her everything and she asked for a picture. I showed her a picture and she was like, aw, he's cute. How old is he? At first she was okay with everything, and the age difference she was kind of iffy about, but then she accepted it. Then she asked his name. I told her his name, she said last name, gave her the last name, and she flipped out. She took my phone, didn't give me an explanation, and told me that if I ever spoke to him again, I would never be allowed out of the house. Finally, after she calmed down, she came to tell me that he was my brother. She asked if we had did anything, and I of course said no, but yes, we did. I'm running out of time, like, for part 3. Part 3 of how I found out that I was dating my own brother. Continuing on with the story, I didn't believe her not one bit, but then I realized the reason why I was attracted to him is because he kind of looked like me. No, I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, I did start to question because everybody did say we looked like brother and sister. I asked her for proof. She didn't have any actual proof that we were brother and sister, but then everything started adding up. I told him, and then he didn't believe me until he asked his foster parents who his parents were. Mind you, me and him never spoke about our real parents because we both told each other that we were uncomfortable speaking about it. Then we did find out that we had the same exact mom and dad. Me and him were both in absolute shock and had no idea what to do. I mean, we kind of were in love with each other, you know? So we decided to just date for a couple more months. I had to tell my grandma that we broke up and we were just hanging out and getting to know each other as brother and sister. But then we both decided that we needed to break up because it started to get a little weird. We never told absolutely anybody about this but my grandma. His foster parents didn't even know that we were siblings.
So when my husband and I were dating, he asked me if I could take him to LAX one day because he needed to catch a flight back home. And I was like, ugh, like if you live out here, you know it's the worst drive ever. But I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, you know. So we're driving to LAX and I'm driving us to LAX and we're talking the entire time and I'm not really paying attention. And he goes, oh, look, there's the 405. I'm this close to missing the exit and I am all the way in the left lane. And he looks over his shoulder and he goes, you got it. So without even thinking, without even looking over my shoulder, I just turn the steering wheel, drive like from this to cross every single lane of traffic, which is like 6 lanes. I drive my car through the plastic dividers, which is now a wall because of people like me. And there's a hill, right, that I did not realize. So I drive through, up and over the hill, and my car's like, whoa! My husband is screaming the entire time. And at the end, I was just like, oh my God, my bad. I have no idea why I just did that. I almost killed us.
In middle school, I had this bully, Kevin, and he was a dick. He came up with this horrible nickname for me in 7th grade. My name's Lydia, and Kevin would call me Lydia Chlamydia. In 7th grade, I didn't even know what chlamydia was, but I knew it wasn't good. And not only did Kevin call me that, but he got other kids to start calling me Lydia Chlamydia too. But luckily, the nickname only lasted a year. By 8th grade, everyone had forgotten about it. Except for me. I never forgot. And all through high school, I was paranoid that someone would remember the nickname and start calling me Lydia Chlamydia again. So fast forward like 13 years. It's Friday night, and I'm out at a bar in LA. I'm ordering a tequila soda, extra. extra lime, and I feel someone tap me on the shoulder. And I turn around, and lo and behold, it's Kevin. He's like, hey, Lydia, do you remember me? We used to go to middle school together. I called you Lydia Chlamydia. I was like, yes, I do, Kevin. He's like, you know, I'm really sorry about that, and I'm a little tipsy right now, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but my senior year of college, I ended up actually getting chlamydia, and it's crazy because I thought of you. Anyway, long story short, I ended up taking Kevin home with me because there is nothing that turns me on more than hearing about a bully get his ass handed to him by karma.
So when I turned 13, I had a birthday party. It's no big deal. I mean, you know, I was just blossoming, turning into a woman. And so I remember my mom was like, no one's allowed in the rooms. Everyone needs to be outside. If you see anyone inside, you need to tell me. I was like, oh my God, Booma, you don't need to pop off. I get it, Booma, come on. I remember I saw 3 adults walk out of my room. I didn't tell my mom, but let me tell you why. Because I was like, maybe they're designing a gift for me. So the end of the day came, no surprise present came. I'm not mad. Are you mad? Because I'm happy. So we started cleaning up, and then we went to go clean my room in case. Oh, the best part is coming! There was a voodoo doll under my bed. You know, it looked exactly like me. I remember there was one needle on its left eye, another needle on its heart, and it was laying on like a ratchet green leaf. And then next to it, there was a note that said, this is all gonna be mine in cursive. So then my mom started doing research on this.
So when I was 19 years old, my grandfather passed away, and it was a really tough time for me and my family. Like, when he actually died, I was in the hospital room with him holding his hand. His funeral was really hard to attend, and just all around it was really sad. But towards the end of the year, his church had this memorial service for all the church members who had died, and so me and my family went. And we were sitting in our own row. It was really dark inside the church except for like candles lit, and it was really quiet except for the pastor giving his service and going over all the names of all the members who had died that year. And when he got to my grandfather's name, I had this like just sudden great idea to kind of be like, represent, like, families here. I want you to know that up there, you know, shout out. So I didn't even think about it. Like, I just sat back and I just let it out, and I was like, woo, yeah. And my mom was sitting right next to me, and she looked at me like so horrified, and she was like, you're so disrespectful. And I was like, like, now I know it's super inappropriate, but
Story time. When I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was really thick with 3 C's. I mean, if I was a fruit, I was a grape. If I was a shape, I was a circle. You see this right here? This. So it was a time when girls began to like question their like bodies and stuff like that. All of my friends aren't fat, so why am I fat? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get on a diet. So for that whole day, I only ate carrots. But then I was so confused. Why am I still fat? I only ate carrots all day. Oh no, God, am I pregnant? My mom had a pregnancy test in her bathroom. So guess what I did? I struggled to open that pregnancy test up. I was so scared for my life. I knew for sure I was pregnant because there was no other way that I could be fat and not be pregnant. I took the pregnancy test and waited. To my relief, it said negative. I went to my mom, cried because I was like, Mom, I think I'm pregnant, but I think this pregnancy test doesn't work. I'm so fat, I must be pregnant. She's like, nah, you ain't pregnant. You just eat too much.
This is a bit of a long one, so get your popcorn ready and get comfy. Anyways, one time in year 4 or 5 I used to play Roblox with my backup best friend. We're not friends anymore, so she'd blow up if she saw this, especially if it had her name in it, so let's call her Lily. Anyways, me and Lily were on Roblox and we were playing our favorite game, Roblox in Life. Because I was a little sad kid, I spent all my pocket money on Robux so I could make my avatar bomb AF to catfish people into thinking I'm pretty. It worked very well, and every time I joined a game I'd get at least 10 Roblox boyfriends in like 3 minutes. When I flexed all my Roblox boyfriends to Lily on FaceTime, she always started to cry because she couldn't get any. I kept telling her to shut up, but she said she wouldn't stop crying until I gave her one of my boyfriends. I found one of the weird Roblox boys in the game that I rejected and asked her to be Lily's boyfriend, and he said yes. She was very happy and I made them meet in the game. Their Roblox relationship got a little bit more serious than I expected because they were adding each other's snaps. I kept telling Lily he was a pedophile, but she ignored me every time. They showed each other a picture of their faces, and I found the picture he sent her on Pinterest and told Lily, but he told her that he was just a bit famous and that dumb shit believed him. He said he lived in America and asked where Lily lived. I told her not to tell him or I wouldn't be her friend, so she didn't because she was a loner and I was her only friend. Stupidly, she had her snap maps on, so he found out where she lived. She got scared and told him that I liked him, then gave him my snap. He made a group chat with me, Lily and him in it, and told us that he was coming to Liverpool and asked us to meet him. He then asked when we meet if we could have a three-way, then sent some disturbing pictures. We both said no and I to the three-way, and after a while I persuaded her not to meet him. At school the next day when she went to go put her phone in the phone tray at the beginning of the day, I knew her password because it was the same as mine, so I took her phone. At school the next day when she went to go put her phone in the phone tray at the beginning of the day, I knew her password because it was the same as mine, so I took her phone back out and blocked him on her phone. That guy wouldn't stop trying though. Once he found out that we had blocked him, he made several different accounts to try and talk to us. He said if we didn't answer he would come to our house to kill us. We ended up deleting Snapchat and we reported him to the police. We never heard from him again.
Big up yourself, cause you know they don't. I choo choo choo, cause they hope I